of gluten-free cookies or biscuits. This title I've chosen from the previous class. So the demand of the bakery products that are gluten-free is growing rapidly as a result of increasing number of people who consider the avoidance of gluten as the healthy lifestyle choice. This gluten-free biscuits assessment will follow the cradle-to-grave approach with applying the ISO standards, which is the ISO 1404 and ISO 14044, both in 2006, taking into account all the activities involved from the production of raw materials to the disposal of waste. Firstly, all the raw materials, which including the ingredients and packaging materials, will arrive at the factory and be stored before being used. For each type of the biscuit, the ingredients are mixed and blended to form the dough. The dough is then shredded into different pieces based on the biscuit type. Once this stage is completed, the pieces are baked into the gas-driven tunnel ovens. Then the baked biscuits are cooled and packaged. The packaging materials include wrap, the cardboard case, and plastic film. At the end of this process, the packaged biscuits will then stored into the warehouse and distributed to the retailers. For the safety of the products, the food manufacturers have to fulfill certain criteria such as cleaning of the production process in order to avoid the cross-contamination. The manual cleaning is carried out throughout the entire production chain by using the sodium chloride. Biscuits waste that are generated as a byproduct from the different stages of the production process, which include the mixing, baking, and cooling, will be used for animal feed, while the packaging materials will be recycled. For the impacts of this product on the environment, I have categorized into each process. First stage of this process, which is the storage, it includes the environmental burdens from the storage of raw materials and the final products that will be distributed to the customers. The second stage, which is the cleaning activities, it involves the impacts from the production of cleaning agents that will be used in the process and relevant to the wastewater generation. The third stage, which is the mixing, baking, and cooling, it includes the impacts related to the production of the energy consumed, which is the electricity and the fossil fuel. For the packaging stage, the packaging materials that will be used might be undegradable, which will harm the environment if they are not managed properly. And lastly, for the transportation stage, it includes the emission that is derived from the transport that is being used to transport or to distribute the product to the customers that will cause the air pollution. As for my suggestion to overcome this issue, one is the alternative formulations or mixture must be considered to evaluate the potential environmental improvements in combination of healthier products. 2. The modifications regarding the distribution of the product and the packaging waste disposal patterns to enhance the environmental profile. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Seriana binti Mak Rozi. Today I will present about the glassware. Glassware is a container or object made from glass. The procedure adopted in the manufacturing of glass may broadly divided into 5 stages. The first stage is the collection of raw materials. It is depending upon the type of glass produced. Next stage is preparation of batch. Batch is the mixing of the raw material, colored and decolorizer, where all the components are finely powdered in grinding machine, accurately weighted in correct proportions and mixed in the mixing machine until the uniform mixture is obtained. The color indicate the waste glass. They increase the flexibility of glass and prevent loss of alkali by volatilization during the reaction in forming glassware. The decolorizer is added to remove the color produced by traces of iron compounds. The usual substance used as decolorizer are various. The third stage is melting in furnace. The batch is melted either in the pot furnace or in the tank furnace. The heating is continued until the evolution of carbon dioxide, oxygen, sulfur dioxide and other gases stops. Then the molten glass batch is given suitable shape or form in fabrication stage. There is 6 different ways of fabrication: blowing, casting, drawing, pressing, rolling and spinning. After being manufactured, the glass is cooled down slowly and gradually. This process known as annealing. There is 2 methods of annealing: fluid treatment and oven treatment. Now I'm going to talk about the impact of glassware manufacturing to the environment. There are 2 major problems, which is the amount of sand used and the high temperature during production. Mostly, sand is harvested from riverbeds. Removing sand from the seabeds leaves shore community open to the flooding and erosion. The high temperature of furnace need to be maintained along the production to ensure the melted batch not hardened. With all the impact, we should remember that glass is 100% recyclable. In my opinion, to overcome this issue, recycle the glass in the form of cullet, since lower energy used to melt it. The high technology of furnace also can be used to produce efficient heat and time consumed.
Assalamualaikum everyone, my name is Muhammad Faizuddin bin Roslan and today I'm going to talk about chocolate and I will be focusing on the dark chocolate bar. Okay, so everyone know chocolate, so let's go to the general chocolate life cycle. It consists of material acquisition, production of the chocolate, distribution, use and also its disposal. And next we go into the more detailed manufacturing process. It consists of 3 processes, which is firstly is the upstream processes, the core processes and the downstream processes. In upstream processes, we cultivate the raw materials such as sugar, cocoa bean and also packaging materials such as aluminium and cardboard. And then for the core process is consists of a few processes such as roasting, pressing, milling, conching and tempering. So in first 3 process, which is roasting, milling and pressing, the cocoa bean will be produced into different ingredients, which is the cocoa butter, cocoa liquor and also the cocoa powder. Then in the next process, which is the conching, these 3 ingredients will be mixed together and will refine as a chocolate liquid. And then for tempering process, this chocolate liquid will be put into a mold and then will be cooled and hardened. And then after it is hardened, it will be packaged with the packaging material that we said just now. There are a few impacts for the production of the chocolate. Firstly, in the upstream processes, it causes the eutrophication and also soil acidification due to the fertilizer use and also the pesticide use. During the core process, it causes the solid waste accumulation such as cocoa shell, cocoa hulls, which we did not use in this product. And then it is also cause global warming due to CO2 produced. And for downstream process, it causes the waste material from the packaging material. So my suggestion to control this is to use back the waste material as a fertilizer. And next, optimize the manufacturing process to reduce the carbon dioxide. And lastly, use greener material for packaging of the product. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Life cycle assessment is assess all the environmental effects that can cause throughout all the stages like Most people use plastic bags to bring home their groceries and use for newly purchased items. The plastic bag is made from polyethylene materials. This is the life cycles of plastic bags. Starting with the raw materials, where the main components are natural gas and petroleum prepared for the extraction process. Second, go to the refined process for energy consumptions. The raw material is created the monomers, which the main components are ethylene and propylene. Then polymerization. This process is to form the long chains of monomers. The monomers is formed into granule and loaded into the hoppers. Next, heating process is run into the extruder. Lastly, polyethylene is formed into the plastic bag and go for packaging process. The product is ready for the distributions and transportations. When reached to the consumers, consumer can decide whether they want to reuse for new goods or throw into the landfills. So, the plastic bag and the process itself can cause environmental impact. Firstly is emissions from the manufacturing that can cause global warming. Other than that, pollutions of natural environment that can cause loss of biodiversity and degradations of natural environments. Also can cause oceans plastic pollutions that can harm the animals. How we want to overcome it? I think we should reduce the use of single plastic like cups, straw, plastic bags, and many more. Instead of that, we should use the materials from the paper bags, cotton, so we can recycle it. Also, I think we can reuse the plastic bag. For instance, the plastic bag can be used for art and can be used as a small can liner. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Vishan and my ethics ID is J17800055. So the product I've been chosen is tissue. So what is tissue paper? Tissue paper is a soft, feathery, lightweight, high absorbent, tear resistant and disposal and relatively strong paper product that has been made. Tissue can be made from both virgin and also recycled paper pulp. So let's have a look about the product cycle of tissue paper. So like how tissue paper starts. So tissue paper starts from tree. So like first they will take trees at the factory and then they will debug it. What is debug? Debug is a process that removes the tree's outer layer while leaving as much as wood on the tree as possible. So they will remove the tree's leaf part and so on and only leave the tree part which can be used for the pulping process and also the further on process. Usually the logs are chipped into uniform size, approximately 1 inch times quarter inch. So like every chip will be like in same size so that the pulping process will be easier at the later on. And the reason is to the easier the pulp the wood for later process. So like let's say if you have a uniform size means it will be easier for a pulping process for the next process. So the batch of wood chips, about 50 tons, is then mixed in cooking chemicals. The resultant slurry is then sent to a tall pressure cooker called a digester. And after that, the cooking process is up to 3 hours and the moisture inside the wood itself will be reduced to 50% and also 25 tons of cellulose fiber and lignin will be contained inside that slurry. And then out of this, 15 tons of usable fiber called pulp are gone through multi-stage washers system to remove lignin and also cooking oil chemicals. The pulp is then washed and sent to bleach plants to remove the color that has been tainted inside. The color process is from yellow to white paper or white products. So the pulp is then mixed with water to produce paper stock. The paper stock is sprayed between moving mesh screen to let the water drain out. Later on, it is sent to a heated cylinder called Yankee dryer. So the reason why it is sent to a Yankee dryer is to remove the excess water and also dry out the excess water inside the paper. The paper is crimped, a process that is make it very soft and also make it a slightly wrinkle. So for the further process, it will send to a wounded jumbo reel. So a jumbo reel which is like reel the whole paper product, and then after that the paper will unwind and also slit and also rewind onto the long thin cardboard tubing, and making a paper log which is then cut into rolls and wrapped into packages. After it is cut and after it is packaged, then it is sent to the next process, which is the delivery process to other products.
So today I'll be talking about the product life cycle of a mirror. The raw materials used to make a mirror are silica, soda ash, dolomite, limestone, and glass shards. After being mixed together, the glass is then melted and spread onto the conveyor belt to be cooled. After being cooled, the glass sheets are inspected, cut to desired size, and are shipped off. At the manufacturing process of the mirrors, glass sheets arrive from the glass factory. They are mechanically scrubbed and rinsed. Then a thin solution is added as adhere for silver, the reflective component, and then copper is spread evenly onto the glass as a protective layer. After this, they are dried. Next, protective backing is painted on and is heat dried and cooled. After cooling, the mirror gets an acid bath to remove paint or metal from the front. Finally, the mirror is turned right side up and is inspected for faults, and then it's ready to be packed and shipped off. Mirrors are commonly used for looking at oneself. They are also used in cars as rear view mirrors. So what happens when it breaks? If a mirror breaks, it cannot be repaired and cannot be recycled because it has coatings of other metals, so it's not like just glass. However, if there is only a crack in the mirror, it can be repaired in a similar way how we repair the car windshield when it's cracked. Generally, the waste that can be produced in the manufacturing of this mirror is by adding on the multiple layers at the back of the float glass. Metal oxides and contaminants are released into the air, and also the burning fuels for heating and the electricity causes the carbon dioxide emission into the atmosphere.
Assalamualaikum. Today I would like to talk about the manufacturing of shoes. These rubber sole casual shoes are worn by 1 billion people around the world. To meet the demand, roughly 23 billion shoes are produced every year, mostly in factories across China and also Southeast Asia. Let's look to the manufacturing process of shoes, which consists of 5 stages of process. The first stage is cutting, where it will cut depend on the size. Then the second one is stitching, where the cut upper will stitch together by using the sewing machine.
And then the shoes are undergo gluing. These 3 processes use a lot of energy and produce waste materials. Fourth stages is finishing, where the latex put into the shoes, and lastly is packaging. The shoes wrapped in wax paper and put into the box.
Shoes making has become more complicated, more labor intensive, and in some way more dangerous for the worker involved and also for our planet. Shoes Shoes manufacturing accounts for roughly 1/5 of the fashion industry carbon emission. Shoes alone generate 313 million metric tons of carbon dioxide every year, which is equivalent to annual emission of 66 million cars. Besides, the material made shoes can emit a ton of greenhouse gases and use a lot of energy. The shoes also made from leather, which is this material relies on chromium. Chromium is a carcinogenic chemical that can damage freshwater and ecosystem. In addition, distribution factory fuel is another problem, can expose to a harmful chemical like toxic glue fume. According to industry area, 80% of shoes are tossed into landfill as shoes impossible to break down into recyclable components. So, how can we balance our love of shoes with the need for sustainability? Firstly, the designer should streamline the design element and focus on eco-friendly materials. Factory need to develop energy-efficient manufacturing process that consolidate step and shoes parts. Factory also can recycle the shoes into new product or new shoes. We as a consumer should support the company use clean energy and ethical manufacturing process. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nur Ainana Rabinta Azman, and today I will be talking about the product that I've chosen from the previous task. And the product that I've chosen is phone case. And I will be talking about its manufacturing process, the impacts on the environment, as well as the suggestions to overcome the issue. Before I go through the manufacturing process, I will be talking about how it is made and the material used to make the product. The material used to make the product is polyurethane. It is chosen due to its characteristics and its versatility. It is resistant towards water, oil, and grease. As well, it can be molded into hard and soft phone cases. The process is divided into three, which is the molding, the injection of plastic, and the design. The molding process started with the material mold base shape using the mold maker into the desired shape, style, and model. Then after it attains the correct design, it will be trimmed, smooth, and polished. The second process is the injection of plastic into the mold using high pressure injection. Then a cooling fluid will be poured into the mold to help the plastic to harden and cool. The last step is the most crucial one as it involves the design, and it is what attracts the customer to buy it. A layer of paint will be applied on the surface with desired design and varnish to prevent the design fading or peeling. Moving on to the impacts on the environment. Based on the fact there are more than 1 billion of phone cases is made throughout the year, and the lifetime of the phone cases varies from 1 to 2 years, which then end up in the landfill or in the oceans. My first point is the conventional plastic is made up from the petroleum base, and it will cause the depletion of the petroleum base source. Plastic is chosen for its characteristic, for its durability, and most importantly is long-lasting. But it is hard to decompose once it's thrown away. Thus, it will cause a pile-up in the oceans and in the landfill, which is related to my third point, which it will harm the marine life. The marine life will either be harmed by the entanglement in the plastic objects or the exposure to the chemicals within the plastic with their physiology. The plasticizer used in the plastic will cause developmental defect towards the humans and the animals, which will lower down the birth weight as well as the body and tail length. Lastly, it will contribute to the climate changes as the production of plastic will emit a large tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. There will always a solution to every problem. Thus, here are my suggestions on how to overcome this issue. My suggestion is to use bio-based material as an alternative to the petroleum-based material. By applying this, it will include the degradable and compostable characteristics. This will help to reduce the piling up of plastic waste in the landfills and in the oceans. The material suggestion will be bamboo, the renewable plant-based material, as well as the byproduct of agriculture waste. That's all from me. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Mawada binti Abdul Khalid and my matric number is J17A0072. And for this assignment, which is the LCA assessment, the product that I chose is CD games, which are known as compact disc games. So for the first part is the manufacturing process. Firstly, the data is transferred into a compact master disk, which is the master before transferring into other pieces of the CD. The next step of the manufacturing is then from the master CD, it is then put into a machine called laser cutting machine. This will cut the master disc into little bits of CDs. The product of the previous process will be go through a machine called injection molding machine, which will cut to more individual CDs like we used to now. So that's basically what happens in the manufacturing process of a CD. For the second part is impact on environment of the manufacturing process. It is a known fact that a manufacturing of only one CD can release approximately 1 kilogram of carbon dioxide. It is almost or more than 2 billion of CD made in a year for worldwide. So imagine of 2 billion kg of carbon dioxide released to the environment. After the consumers use their CDs, what will happen? Most of the time, it will end up in landfills. CDs has many layers of mined minerals such as aluminium, gold, silver and other petroleum-based plastic. So, if the CDs end up in landfills, it is not biodegradable. It will end up there for a very long time. So, for the third part is a method to overcome this problem. So the LSA assessment for this CD game is that from materials, manufacturing, use, and then disposal. So what are we gonna do for the disposal part is that we can propose something for the material to be biodegradable, such as polylactic acid or PLA plastic. Another way to minimize the disposal of CDs is that we opt for online data for games. It is one of the ways that can save a lot of material in terms of manufacturing of the CD, the manufacturing of the packaging and stuff. So a lot of things that can be minimized. So that's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and good morning. My name is IskandarRashidi bin Cik. Today I would like to talk about my life cycle product, which is I choose cap. People around the world, from the old, young, or at work or play, even athlete or politician, wear cap. Cap consists of soft fabric crown and visor to protect the eye from the sun. Baseball cap generally made up of wool, cotton, or cotton synthetic combination. Cap production consists of several processes, such as visor insert, line stitch, join crown, sew hole, attach top button on crown, embroidery, and lastly attach inner part. Production of cap may lead to environment pollution, such as thermally by virtue high temperature of effluent, extreme pH, and contamination with dye, diluent of dye, auxiliary bleach, detergent, optical brightness, and many other chemicals used during the textile processing. Inappropriate or incomplete effluent treatment of discharge of polluted water directly without treatment, leading to polluted surface water and polluted aquifer layer of earth or rock contamination water. As a result, any heavy metal constituent in effluent lead to pollution with both negative ecological impact on water body environment and deterioration of human health. The major environmental effect, the discharge of amount of chemical loads resulting from high consumption of water and harmful chemical use in this sector and the associated water pollution. High energy consumption in production, process related to air immersion, problem with packaging and solid waste production, the formation of unpleasant odor which are formed by bleaching, dyeing and printing process and which can arise from the wastewater treatment plant, noise pollution which occur in place where knitting and weaving are made. For the energy used in the production is thermal energy dominate in chemical processing, being used mainly for heating water, drying textile material, while electrical power dominate the energy consumption pattern in spinning and weaving. The textile industry is one of the most generator of GHG greenhouse gases, not least because its enormous size. It is reported that total thermal energy required per meter of cloth is 18.8 to 23 mJ, and the electrical energy required per meter of cloth is 0.45 up to 0.55 kilowatt per hour. Thank you. That's all from me.
Assalamualaikum. Hi, my name is Adila binti Aminuddin. Now, I'm going to present about life cycle of mirrors. Processing the raw material of mirror. After being mixed raw material together, the glass being melts and spreads evenly on the conveyor belt to cool. After being cooled, the glass sheet are inspected, cut to the size and shape of. Manufacturing of the products, glass sheet arrive from the glass factory. They are mechanically scrubbed and rinsed. Then, a thin solution, silver and copper are sprayed evenly on the glass. After this, it is being washed and dried. Next, a protective backing is being on, heat dry and cool. After cooling, the mirror gets an acid bath to remove paint or metal from the front. Finally, the mirror is turned right side up, is inspected for the valve. It is ready to be packed and shipped. The manufacturer will cut the mirror to the size and ship them to the store or people who order them specially. For the disposal, when a mirror breaks, it cannot be repaired to its original condition, so people should dispose of it. However, if there is only crack on the mirror, it can be repaired in a similar way as a car windshield. Mirror cannot be recycled because despite being made of glass, they have been mixed with other metal. Mirrors are made of glass which is made of soda ash, calcium, dolomite and limestone mixed with the waste glass. The waste glass is recycled material, but the rest has to be extracted. The major environmental impact of the glass production is caused by atmospheric emission for the melting activity, the combustion of natural gas, fuel oil and the decomposition of raw material during the melting lead to the emission of carbon dioxide. This is the only greenhouse emitted during the production of glass. Carbon dioxide from the fuel and oil from the decomposition of sulfate in the patch material can contribute to the acidification. Nitrogen oxide due to the high melting temperature, in some cases due to decomposition of nitrogen compound in the patch material, also contribute to acidification and formation of smoke. Evaporation from the molten glass and raw material can cause release of particles into the atmosphere. So, to overcome this issue, designer may consider resorting to find alternative way to produce household mirror that can reduce amount of waste produced and energy consumed. One way this could be accomplished is by differing the material that can be lead to better recycling and overall waste management. This could include the production of mirror whose recycled glass could be separate from the metal, and therefore both the glass and the metal could be recycled. This will result in a more efficient use of energy and overall more productive life cycle of an object such a mirror that can reduce impact of the environment and result less consumption of non-renewable energy.
Many people wonder how newspaper is made. The first step is get the raw material, then get the pine plant and harvest it. The second step is wood is debarked. The bark will be stripped from the log by using hydraulic barker. Third step is chipping process. The stripped log will be chipped into the small pieces using the chipping machine. The fourth process is chemical pulping process. Chip from the storage bin will be put into the digester. The chip will be cooked to remove the lignin. The fifth step is hydropulping. Wood fiber will be put into the circular tank. The circular tank has the powerful agitator which can break up the bales or wood fiber into the small pieces. Waste paper is one of the raw material. Waste paper is collected from the waste paper bag. Next process is de-inking process. Printed paper will be removed the ink before it put into the recycle process to prevent the disperse of the ink in the pulp. The next step is cleaning process. Cleaning process involves the remove the dirt. The celery fiber will be dried to obtain the continuous paper web. It will undergo the squeeze section to remove the excess water. Finally, the printing process occurs. How come the making newspaper can affect the environment? In newspaper industry, deforestation is the most major problem. 95 million trees are being used to produce newspaper in a year. The second issue is air pollution. The nitrogen, sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide will release to the environment. This can cause acid rain. Next is water pollution. The wastewater from the newspaper industry will release lignin, chlorine, iodine to the river that can disturb the ecosystem. The next issue is almost 26% solid waste is come from newspaper. The step to overcome is first must have the sustainable forest management. Second is must sell the gas like nitrogen, carbon dioxide to the factory that need it as the raw material. Third is must treat the wastewater before release to the river. The fourth is must recycle the used paper. So that's all from me. Thank you.